Hello there, kids. Last week you have learned how to solve angles along a straight line. So if we have points A and B in which they meet at a common point which is O, no? So we now have line AB and line OB. Okay, so we all know now that a straight line basically is equivalent to 180 degrees. So that's a straight line going halfway. But what if we're going to measure from this point again, going to this point? So if you can see, it is still a straight line, which is now equivalent to 180 as well. So we can now say with this figure that if you are going to basically form a circle or go around in a circle, you form a total of 360 degrees. Kasi nga, one straight line is equivalent to 180 and the other way around is also 180. Adding both, forming a circle, will give you 360 degrees. Okay. So, parang imagine nyo yan. For example, ganito. First, at a certain degree, nag-open siya up to a certain, let's say, this is around 45, 47, 48, ganun. Then it opens further. It goes to 90, 91, 92, 93. Opens further. Let's say it goes roughly around 140, 150, 160. Continuous yan. Depending sa pag-open ng and pag dito, syempre obviously that is now over 180 because nga ang 180 straight line lang. 'Di ba? You should know that it's just a straight line, but this now went over at some point. So erase natin to. So going in total from this point all the way here. So let's say as an estimate it's around 100 and or 200 to 220. Depende na sa actual measurement. Until it goes over all the way around, no? From this point all the way around to its original point. Forming basically a circle. Kasi kung i-form nyo yan, no? If yung pag-swirl ng angle, forming a full circle, which is equivalent to 360 degrees. Okay. So, paano nga ba tayo nagsosolve ngayon if we have a missing value? Kung last week, all you need to do is to subtract it from 180 or to equate it to 180. This time, you just need to subtract or to equate it to 360. For example, meron tayong basic and advanced. Okay? So, meron tayong basic and advanced. Let me do the model first. So, kunwari, ito lang. AOB. So, if you notice now, meron tayong dalawang AOB ngayon. The AOB from this point and the other AOB going this way. Okay, so let's just consider the smaller AOB as internal and the bigger one as external. Okay, so we have internal angle AOB and external angle AOB. So, depende yan. Okay? How do we solve it nga? Okay, erase muna natin to. So, let's say this measures roughly around 163 degrees. Yung sa taas, yung internal angle AOB. How will you be able to solve for the external angle AOB? Question mark. So like what I've said, if it is a straight line, all you need to do is just to subtract it from 180 or to, or equate it to 180 if straight line nga. But in this case, we are talking about a full circle. Angles that basically form a full circle, that if you're going to combine them, unlike yung last week, angles just basically form along a straight line from here all the way here. Now we have a different case. The angle now forms all the way around from this point all the way to this point. Starting point niya. Bumabalik tayo sa full. Okay. So we have two ways of solving. First is the basic, and one is the algebraic, which means you need to show it mathematically on how to solve it. So basic, you know that the given angle is 163. All you need to do now is just to subtract it from 360. Kasi nga 360 is the total measurement and part of it is 163. So you just need to remove the given out of the total. So in this case, solving it one by one, you have 5. This will become 10. 10 minus 3 will give you 7. 5 minus 6 cannot be. Borrow here. And we have 15. 15 minus 6 will give you 9. And 2 minus 1 will give you 1. So in this case, you have 197 degrees. Ibig sabihin, itong angle na to is equivalent to 197 degrees. Now, how are we going to solve this algebraically? So again, you just need to know the names. Kailangan lang natin malaman yung total names natin. We know that when you are going to add the internal angle AOB plus the external angle AOB, they are all equivalent to 360 degrees. Okay? 360 degrees. And in this case, it is the internal angle AOB, which is equivalent to 163 degrees, plus the external angle AOB, which is equivalent to 360 degrees. So this is basically the same as what we were doing nung last week. The same lang siya sa straight line. It's just that now, we equate it to 360 instead of 180. Okay. So, ano nga bang gagawin natin next? We want to leave this alone because this is what you're solving for. Diba? Ito yung sinasolve natin, ang angle or external angle AOB. So, you want to remove 163. Since it is positive, all you need to do is to remove it by simply subtracting the same value, which is 163 degrees minus 163 degrees for it to be equivalent to 0. Plus the external angle AOB, which is equivalent to 360 degrees. And take note, once we are solving this, what you did in one side, what you do in one side, do it on the other side of the equation. So in this case, we subtracted 163 here, which means we should also subtract 163 degrees here. Okay, sorry about the space. Sige lang, kasi magbibigay pa ako ng another example. So, which means this is now equivalent to 0, which now leaves us with the external angle AOB, which is equivalent to 360 degrees minus 163 degrees. And doing so, just like what we did with the basic part, it is now equivalent to 197 degrees. So let's try another one. Okay, I hope that you are not confused. Again, if you were able to get the process last week, you will most likely be able to get this process as well. Okay? The only difference lang kasi is last week from 180, ngayon 360. Kasi last week, straight line lang yung pinag-usapan natin. Ngayon, we're basically taking both sides of the straight line, which is forming a circle. Okay, so tatlo lang muna. Let's take 3 muna. Tatlo lang. Okay. So we have the point 0, where point O, where all points meet, vertex nila or vertices for all these angles. We have A, B, C here. So we now have 3 angles, in which let's say this is equivalent to 150 degrees, and this one is roughly around 85 degrees, and what we are solving for is this part over here. Okay, so solving it the basic way, basic and algebraic way. Again, sa basic, all you need to do is to take all the given, which is in this case 150 and 85. So first things first, add all the given angles that is included in the circle nga. The angles that forms a circle basically. So we have 150 plus 85. So we have 5 here, 3, 130. Sorry. 235 kasi may carry over tayo dyan. That's 13. So we have 235. Okay? So you now have the total. So what are you going to do with this? Okay. Ano gagawin natin dyan? All you need to do now is just to take that 235 degrees, yung total sum natin kanina of all the angles. And for you to be able to solve for this part, all you need to do is just to subtract it from 360. Why? Because yun na nga, if you're going to measure this from this point all the way here, forming a circle, that is equivalent to 360. Okay, subtract lang natin. So, borrow, we have 5. This will become 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 5 minus 3 is 2. And 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay? So, that is how you do it yung basic. Now, how do we do it algebraically? So, again, all you need to do is just to take note of the names. We have angle AOB here. We have angle BOC. We have angle AOC. So, in this case, what we are solving for is angle AOC. I hope that you were able to get the point, yung names natin. Bakit siya AOB? Because this angle here forms the point A, O, and B. Bakit to siya angle BOC? Because it takes the points B, O, and C to form that points. To form that angle rather. And in this case, bakit siya angle AOC? Because we're taking the points of A, O, and C. Okay? So that's why ganun yung pag-solve natin dito. So algebraically, all you need to do is to take all three angles, which is equivalent to angle AOB plus angle BOC. It can be in any order. Plus angle AOC. Which is in this case is equivalent to 360 degrees. Because adding all three angles, if you notice itong green point na to, this sum up to 360 degrees. So all three angles, 1, 2, 3, adding them all up is equivalent to 360 degrees. Then, all you need to do now is to substitute the value. Angle AOB is equivalent to 150. Angle BOC is equivalent to 85 degrees. And angle AOC is equivalent to unknown. So, wala tayo nyan. We'll just leave it as angle AOC. And these all three are equivalent to 360 degrees. So, anong gagawin natin muna? Just like what we did sa basic, we need to add up the given angles, which is in this case is equivalent to 235 degrees plus angle AOC, which will now be equivalent to 360 degrees. So, just like what we did with the one that we did earlier sa last example natin and the past examples last week, you want to solve or you are solving for angle AOC, which means in this case, no, you want to remove positive 235. And to remove it, since their relationship or the relationship between 235 degrees and angle AOC is positive, you just need to take the opposite sign of it, which is negative. So, 235 degrees minus 235 degrees and writing back plus angle AOC, which is equivalent to 360 degrees. Okay? So, in this case, we can now cancel this part kasi this basically means 0. And this is the part where I'm going to rewrite it muna. What you do in one side of the equation, I'll just take this space. Close ko lang muna to. I will take this space here. Again, rewriting it, that's 235 degrees minus 235 degrees plus angle AOC is equivalent to 360 degrees. What you do in one side of the equation, you should also do it on the other side of the equation, which means in this case, we should also subtract 235 degrees. Okay? Like what I did earlier, cancel this part. So we are now left with angle AOC is equivalent to 360 minus 235. And doing so, this is now equivalent to 125 degrees. Okay, so you might ask me, Teacher Mark, why do we need to do this algebraically? Because at some point when you reach higher mathematics, you are supposed, or you will be forced to solve for things algebraically. So pinapakita nyo talaga yung process, entire process, rather than just doing it the shortcut. Okay, so as much as possible, in my case, I would advise you to make use of the basic. Pero yun na nga, I also want you to practice the algebraic process of solving. Plus, this will basically help you in advanced mathematics in the future once you will put interest in mathematics. So anyway, that is it. That is how you solve for the basic and algebraic method in solving for the missing angles along a full circle. Okay, so that's it.